cowboy hats now for a while. There've been some conversation from some people who somehow believe that the cowboy hats were more expensive than the campaign hats, and you and I both know that was significantly lower in price. And so instead of the agency paying $100+ or even $90+ for a campaign hat, you're paying half that for a cowboy hat. In my world, that's half price. And with taxpayers' dollars, you're always looking to save dollars wherever you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the cowboy hats themselves, they're because I've worn both of them, they're far more comfortable. Campaign hats were hard. They leave marks on literally across your forehead. They became very uncomfortable after a while. And from the standpoint of the deputies on the street, they like them. Yeah. They like wearing them. They like the way they fit. Mm-hmm. They look good. I mean, they go other places throughout the state of Florida. People notice it, mm-hmm. and they go, "That's Clay County."
Yep.
And they want to come over. And if you've noticed, I do believe there's other agencies now following suit.
Yes, they are. They are. Yeah, we're trying to lead the way in law enforcement in so many categories. If they want to follow behind us on the cowboy hats, that's absolutely fine with me. We're sitting there talking about efficiencies and spending dollars, and we're in this COVID-19 pandemic, and folks, let's be serious. It is a pandemic, and folks are losing their lives, and folks are struggling with this for essentially a killer flu. The sheriff's office is not a doomsdayer or a doom and gloom messenger, but we want to just talk about some of the things that we're doing internally, the dollars that we're spending to mitigate exposure for our employees. And with me today is Chief Richard Elkins, who's the Chief of Services, and he's in charge of a lot of the expenditures and purchases for the agency with respect to the deputies and the men and women who are out there on the front lines and the equipment that they have. And I wanted to talk today about some of the things that we're spending money on, like the antibacterial, the alcohol, the different things that we're using, PPE, and I'll let you kind of have the floor on some of the stuff that your shop's doing on with regards to that.
Well, we're actively looking for the products. Obviously, the products are in short supply, mm-hmm. as everybody knows. We've placed orders, and we are top of the list for the orders. The people understand that.
You worked your magic.
Well, we tried, yes, sir. the fact that we are the first responders, they understand. Most companies understand the seriousness of that, mm-hmm. of what the deputies are exposed to, even so much as on a traffic stop. You never know when somebody hands you that driver's license, is it contaminated? So the hand gel, extremely important. The alcohol hand gel, the masks. We have reached out to different vendors. They've assured us that as soon as they get a supply, they'll be providing those to us. We're looking at across the board anything from the wipes, the Lysol wipes, mm-hmm. Anything that we can get that we can provide to them that's going to make them feel more comfortable out there on the front lines. We've taken the N95 masks that we do have. We have extras for the frontline deputies. Mm-hmm. We're holding those for those troops out there that need them for the boots on the ground. When they get out there and they get exposed to something, I want to be able to hand them another one. Here's you another mask. Here's you some more gloves. Whatever you need to get the job done.
Sure.
But we are actively pursuing those things in every venue that we possibly can, and we got our fingers crossed. So we'll get some eventually. Yeah.
Sure. And I know as far as the sheriffs in the state goes, the Florida Sheriff's Association, we have routine conversations by way of conference call. We do a lot of, there's a lot of emails being pushed from FSA towards the different sheriffs, and with respect of each sheriff identifying surplus items or things that they may have extra or need for in internally, county by county. There's a sharing of equipment, or I'll use for example Bradford County Sheriff Gordon Smith. So if there's a need in Clay County, and he's our neighbor to the west, if he has surplus items, PPE or whatever, and we're in need here in Clay County, then he would give us what we're asking for, and vice versa. You know, the relationships between the different sheriffs in the county is a good relationship, and we're all members of the Florida Sheriff's Association, and you know, essentially, even the deputies, the administrative staff of each sheriff, they communicate by way of these emails and you know, get up to speed on this information that's being pushed out from FSA. COVID-19, you know, people, it's good to see people taking this seriously. I think a lot of people just said, oh, it's just the flu. You know, it's more than just the flu. And, you know, in Clay County, we want to make sure that we keep our folks safe. I'm talking about the employees, and then the people that we serve. We want to keep them safe as possible. We can't be effective if we ourselves are infected. And so we have to do all we can, you know, to make sure that our employees are kept in a safe environment. You know, as you know, we most recently made an adjustment to our the way that we staff up here. And, you know, we have a lot of folks who are working. We have a lot of folks who are working remotely. You know, so we're not all congregating in headquarters or our different facilities. You know, we have folks that are working off-site, and we kind of rotate, you know, who's working internally and who's working remotely. So that's like on a weekly basis. You have folks Monday through Friday working remotely, and then a whole nother crew who is working internally, you know, at the different facilities, and they rotate that out on a weekly basis. I was riding by Fleet the other day, and I saw this vehicle pushed out, and I want to speak a little bit about branding since we you know, have the information going. And you know, we as an agency have, you know, taken the steps to rebrand the agency. You know, if someone would happen to be riding by Fleet, or someone sees this new pickup truck with a different logo on it or a different scheme on it, then it's part of the rebranding. So we decaled, and I don't steal your thunder because that's your shop, you know, decaled one vehicle, and just to show this is the direction that the agency is going.
You look at the cost of it, the actual cost is not that much. It may look way more expensive, but quite honestly, it's not. By the time you factor in and I spoke with several vendors about this, by the time you factor in the labor that they have to do to put two separate stripes on the current vehicles, the yellow and or the gold and the green, and then the star and all that, versus the one piece of 3M type material that they use, really the cost is probably $250 more per car. Okay. So it's not this huge amount of cost. And with the fact that, you know, when you look at it, it really looks professional. Mm-hmm. It moves us to the next level, I believe. You look at other agencies across the state, a lot of other agencies have different brandings. Sure. And I like it. I think it looks great. The feedback that I've received from the deputies is they can't wait. They can't wait to get the new car. You know, the one that we did, obviously we rolled out to the community affairs so that people can see it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, look for feedback on it too. Sure. And I'm sure you do as well. Sure. But I like it, and I think the initial cost, you know, I think we paid, I want to say it was $400 something for it. So when you factor in that versus what we were doing with the other, it's not a very significant cost increase.
Okay. So since we're talking vehicles, and that's your shop as well, sure. You know, I don't think people really understand what our costs are for vehicle purchases. For example, the pickup trucks, mm-hmm. The PSA vehicles, and the Chargers. It's not like going to the dealership and you making a personal purchase for a family vehicle. Those costs are significantly increased versus what we get charged. And if you could speak to that very briefly.
We, as far as the vehicles are concerned, let's use the Chargers for instance. We just recently went to the civilian Chargers for administrative staff and for the detective division and that sort of thing. There was a savings there. There was probably $2,000 per car that we saved by going to just basically the civilian model. It's the same one that you would buy off the lot. Anybody else would, with the exception of we do install the appropriate emergency equipment in the vehicles. The vehicle savings was pretty significant because of the fact that it's not a police package cars. There's different designators You have a PPV, which is a police package vehicle, and an SSV, which is a special service vehicle. And then you have the regular civilian cars. The biggest difference is just brakes and some of the cooling that goes along with the vehicles. So for instance, on the Chargers, we're paying $22,600, $22,800 for those cars. That's a $36,000 car if you go on the lot and buy it. But we don't pay that because of the negotiations through the Florida Sheriff's Association and that sort of thing. Same thing with the pickup trucks. The pickup trucks are like $29,000. Now those trucks, go to the lot and look at one. Now the new Chevys that we purchased, the 2020s, they look more expensive than what they really are. They're just a custom, it's called a custom truck. Basic interior, rubber floor mats. It's a utility vehicle for the deputies to be able to use. We got deputies in the rural areas of the counties, or the county, that can't get to the calls, or they do. I can tell you by looking at the repairs, say for instance to a Charger, they're down and they're ripping the front and rear bumpers off because they're bottoming out on these dirt roads. And you know, if you've ever had any body work done, it's expensive. It's not cheap. So by purchasing the vehicle, not only are we saving the repairs longer down the road, plus these vehicles, most especially these four-wheel drive trucks, you can run those trucks longer. You can get more mileage out of those trucks, more years out of them, and then when you're finished with them, you turn them back over to the county. The county's got a choice of either using them for their utility areas that they may need or selling them. And when you compare the truck to the cars, resale-wise, huge difference. You take the same year car, same year truck, same mileage, put those two through the auction, the truck's gonna be probably $10,000, $12,000. You're lucky to get $1,500 to $2,000 back for the Chargers. Huge difference. So you have to look broad spectrum, big picture. You can't just look, well, you save some money on the front end, yes, but what about the longevity of that vehicle? What about the repairs? We're doing a tremendous amount of repairs to the other cars because they're just not holding up under the police use that we do. And trust me, you know, they get a lot of use. They idle. They're running from a dead stop, wide open, chasing down a speeder or whatever the situation might be. So you need a vehicle that's going to give the deputies the tools they need to be able to get their job done. And personally, from a taxpayer and a citizen of Clay County, I would definitely want to know that if I need the deputy at my house for whatever reason, they have the ability to get there. And if you don't give them the tools and they're stuck on a dirt road, hey, think about that for a second. Somebody's breaking in your house and you're calling at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want that deputy there.
Regardless of where you live in the county.
Yes, absolutely.
And everybody in the county that we interact with is a customer of the Clay County Sheriff's Office, and you know, we're trying to keep Clay County safe, one quality experience at a time with our customers, and you know, that's our job, that's our duty, to keep Clay safe, because we care, and because we have taken on this profession of this service-oriented profession of keeping folks safe. That's what people expect from us. You know, we do all we can to be good stewards of taxpayers' dollars and to be efficient spenders of those dollars and look for ways to improve processes and the way that we do business. And in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have touched on a number of topics that all revolve around the spending of taxpayers' dollars and purchases, you know, with those same dollars. But my ending comments to the folks out here is this: take it seriously. Do what you can to keep you and your family safe. You're safer at home. And one thing that I would ask from you is this: don't feel like you should be an outside or external field observer or enforcement leg to these executive orders, you know, where you're calling in what you perceive to be violations of the executive orders. And what's happening is we're getting unnecessary calls for service that are pulling our deputies away from the true jobs that they're out here to perform, and that's keeping people safe, because someone has perceivably observed what they believe to be non-compliance of an executive order. So, you know, allow us to do what we do, and never feel like you can't communicate with us. And if you feel that there's a crime being committed, by all means, reach out to us and we'll do all we can to keep you and your family safe. So again, Chief Richard Elkins, Chief of Services, myself, Sheriff Darryl Daniels, we are CCSO. Thank you, Clay County.